for the meeting up to 24 hours in advance, sometimes longer. And you have to record the meeting, and you have to make those recordings and agendas public for anyone to be accessible. So because this is considered a public meeting, anyone can join. Essentially, that's, yes, we have to do that.
That's why we are recording.
That's why we're recording. Potentially, yes.
Moral of the story. You hate that. Okay, I noticed this on the mind, we're gonna be a little bit late. I don't know where Bill's at, and I don't know where Levi's at. But
Levi's not coming.
he's not gonna be at all. I think he's.
He has a family emergency.
Okay, cool. No worries, no worries. Thank you for letting me know. And just a heads up too, just so that we can get them back to campus on time. We probably have to slide out at about 12:30. We'll try to do that as like, okay, what it is.
No problem.
Cool, no worries at all.
No problem.
Alrighty then, how close is it?
I would say so. I have to start meetings together.
I'm gonna go ahead and call this meeting to order. So first, we're gonna start with our verbal attendance, so just for our council members, just share your names if you're present. Start with
Amelia Federico, present.
Present.
Haley Glass, present.
Matthew Rathbone, present.
Siobhan McKinney, present.
And then let's also just be mindful that there's no microphones in this room, so make sure you're projecting a little bit. And then for those in the room, we do start off each of our meetings by reading our mission statement, just to remind us why we're here serving students. So what's your mission statement?
Our mission statement for SG TSAC is to support the evolving needs of the MSU Denver student body by advocating in their best interest to enhance the university experience and opportunities.
Perfect. Then moving on to the approval of the agenda. So each of the council members needs to kind of check through this and make sure that everything on the agenda is business that we need to discuss today and that we're not missing anything on there. So the agenda looking good. Any questions, comments, concerns, final additions? Last chance.
In that email that you sent me about the updates that you wanted me to give about the budget committee, could that be incorporated into committee updates and those not standing? Okay,
Perfect. So let's do that during the updates. With no other questions, any changes to the agenda? Well, Nancy.
No, okay.
I'm gonna motion to approve the agenda for today's meeting. Any objections? Any abstentions? Perfect. The agenda will be approved then. So when we do a call like that, somebody will motion for something, but it always has to be seconded by somebody else before it could go to a formal vote. I just do objections and abstentions because if nobody objects and nobody abstains, then there's no need for us to all say aye, say that we're in favor. But that might look different for different councils as well. Moving on, it is 11:35. Yeah, my like counselor, would you like to state your name for attendance?
William Coates, president.
It is 11:35, so at this time we would normally do public comment, which is when students or the public can come in and speak on issues. We allocate 5 minutes of time to 3 students to speak during this time if we have any students present. Is there anybody that is here for public comment? Anybody online? It doesn't look like it. We do leave this meeting time open 11:35 until the 11:50 mark, just in case a student does come in and has an issue they want to share with us, but didn't make it right on time. So if we have anybody that comes in, we will pause the meeting and we will allow them to speak for public comment. But seeing as there's nobody at this time, we're going to go ahead and move forward to our new business. This is actually the first agenda item is new business kind of. So we're doing the second read of an amendment to the elections related requirement. We have that pulled up by chance.
Oh yeah, you can share your screen. Okay. I'll see that. Oh, please.
No worries. This is, just for context, this is an amendment that we read over last week. Anytime we want to make a amendment to our constitution, we have to do an initial read at the first meeting. Give time for all the counselors to review it, provide any suggestions, and then our next meeting, we do the voting. So this meeting today is when we will vote on the changes to our constitution. So, did all the counselors have a chance to review the changes made? It was just, in line with the conversation that we had last week in regards to the language of a minimum of 9 credits. So for elections related requirements, a student will have to have a minimum of 9 credit hours distributed throughout the academic year for undergraduate students. And then a minimum of 6 credits distributed out through the academic year for graduate students, with the student having no less than 3 credits in a single semester. So just adjusting this to better meet the qualifications of a part-time student for graduate students. Was there any final questions or concerns regarding this amendment and the changes made to it? Stephen?
Again, just Brandon, if you could scroll down a little bit. So did you all make the language clear? And I'm not seeing it here.
It is in the review, so.
But, okay, got it. And 6 credits throughout the academic year for graduates. Thank you. I yield my time.
I believe this is all kind of what we were in agreement on last meeting when we talked about it, but any final questions or concerns before we move to the voting on this, given those changes? Great point. I'm gonna table the voting of this until we have the 2 other counselors that are running. If that's okay, so I'm gonna motion to table the voting of this constitutional amendment until later in this meeting when we can meet. Any objections? Any abstentions? Perfect. Okay, we will move back to that then. We have quorum. Stephen?
Will, do you want to explain to our guests why we had to table that, just in some more depth? Why this one specifically got tabled?
Sure. So whenever we need to change the constitution, it requires a supermajority of however many people are part of the council as voting members. So we have 10 members, that would be 8. As I see, we only have 6 members present, 7 members present, and one of them has to abstain, and that doesn't meet the minimum of supermajority, which is 8 voting members to pass in a constitutional amendment. The difference between an amendment and a resolution is just the threshold to pass a constitutional amendment versus a resolution. So we make it harder for the constitution to be changed, and that is also reflected in pretty much any form of government. Any type of constitutional change is going to require more voting members voting for that amendment. So that is pretty common. We'll see that in different forms of government across the country and across the world. Really. And there's a reason for that, right? You don't want the highest governing document to be easily changed. Like just potential whims or potential changes or people coming in and like trying to change certain things. So yeah, I hope that helps.
Looking forward on the agenda, I believe the next item that we have on here is actually coming from Mike, if I'm not mistaken. So we're also probably wait a few minutes for him to get here to do that. Victor, are you okay if we jump forward back to that resolution that we tabled last week? Perfect.
Do you want me to read it again, or do you want me to just talk about it?
Let's go ahead and read through it again, just for sake of clarity, and since we have some new people in the room, like delegates.
Context, this resolution here is kind of regards to the possible, I guess, safety of our students, and we're trying to help our students here as much as we can. We are a Hispanic serving institution with an entire immigrant services program that serves a majority of students here on campus that are undocumented. And we here at TSAC, I think, are pretty open about helping all of our students. So we're trying to help and mitigate as much as possible. And we're trying to support the people that are in the right places to pass resolution and proposals like this. And just for context as well, Will Simpkins, Ed Brown, David Fine, myself, Gregor, and a couple of the people from the immigrant services program are going to meet next week on getting input about putting this protocol in place. So it's really good that we made it, which is 396, so it's really good. I'll go ahead and read it. Resolution to formally support proposed protocol to allow a shutdown of the Jordan Student Success Building in the event of an immigration customs enforcement or federal immigration agency presence on or near campus. It was authored by myself and one of our delegates named Skies Childress, endorsed by Matthew Redmond and Siobhan McKeon. The Student Advocacy Council of Metropolitan State University of Denver, tasked with supporting the evolving needs of the student body, support the creation of a protocol to emergently restrict access to MSU Denver controlled spaces, and further call on MSU Denver and Aurora campus to further that protocol to restrict all access to their respective controlled buildings in the event of an immigration enforcement presence on campus. Whereas advocating for the policies that protect MSU Denver immigrant and documented BIPOC and otherwise marginalized students is enhancing the university's experience and opportunities. The proposed protocol to emergently change access to just beach badge only access in the event of immigration enforcement action is a great step to protect the campus community. Because immigration agencies gaining access to spaces on campus is counter to the interest of MSU Denver students, supporting this policy which restricts that access is aligned with TSAC's mission. The Department of Homeland Security rescinded the 2021 Protected Areas Memorandum that prevented immigration officers from enforcing immigration law on college campuses, schools, hospitals, funeral homes, and many other sensitive areas. Whereas immigration officers often profile people for detention and arrest based on appearance, language spoken, and other protected characteristics. Whereas immigration enforcement agencies detain and arrest people without cause and often deny them due process. The idea that federal immigration authorities won't come to college campuses is incorrect. To give a very recent example, on Saturday, March 8th, Mahmoud Khalil was taken from his dorm on campus at Columbia University and is currently in federal immigration custody. He is an immigrant and a green card holder. No criminal charges have been filed against him, but he is being held indefinitely. Donald Trump said this, the first arrest of many to come. Another student from Columbia was confronted by ICE on campus, but ICE was not allowed to enter the space she was in, and she was not apprehended. Whereas the Aurora campus is located on unceded territories of indigenous peoples, the establishment of this campus dismantled the community tradition of this place through the displacement of many Latina people who live and work in the Aurora neighborhood. And those atrocities are analogs to, if not precisely, colonization, and were accomplished by the law enforcement officers to take this land. Whereas it is a popular idea that our university, which sits on stolen land, should protect our community from the white nationalist atrocity of removing Black and brown people from the buried safe land, and this policy is one small step MSU Denver could take building a safer campus for all. Whereas any on-campus presence of ICE, DHS, Custom Border Protection, and federal agencies that enforces immigration law is contrary to the well-being of MSU Denver student body. Whereas the Jordan Student Success Building is often unlocked during business hours. Whether or not immigration customs enforcement or other federal immigration agencies are permitted to enter JCB is ambiguous because of the intersections of MSU Denver policy, Aurora campus policy, and local, state, and federal laws. Having lawful control of spaces owned or leased MSU Denver and Aurora campus that have authority to lock down any building, room, or area to ensure the safety of campus community. The campus community should be alerted if immigration officers are presented on campus and use a rate alert system to do just that would be effective means of notification. If access control for spaces is set to badge only Any person without a badge, including immigration officers, could not enter. However, they follow any student, staff, faculty, or badge member into the space with little difference. Whereas Denver Public Schools seek leaders to lock all doors of all buildings on their campuses in the event of ICE activity on or near the campuses. Regardless of policies in place, federal law enforcement may choose not to honor them and restrict their immediate access in the event of ICE presence in a way to ensure ICE is not overstepping their authority and violating the rights of the people who call Aurora campus their home. Therefore, it be resolved, the Student Advocacy Council formally endorses adding a protocol to both originally change the access to the JCP to badge access only and to notify campus communities of the rate system in the event of any immigration enforcement presence on campus. We would additionally call on Aurora campus to enact a protocol to originally shut down all buildings on the Aurora campus and an immigration enforcement presence. Be it further resolved, the purpose of this resolution is twofold, and firstly, TSAC supports the Immigration Services Program Office and the proposal of their protocol, and secondly, TSAC wants to see a stronger policy put in place to close building entrances entirely if immigration enforcement presence is specified. Given the concerns, the ability of non-badge individuals following badge individuals. Be it further resolved to adequately show the council's support for the creation of such protocol. The TSAC member that represents the council at president's cabinet meeting will voice the concern raised in the resolution as it relates to the protocol when appropriate. The council also asked Dr. Sitzborough, the TSAC's advisor, and Assistant VP of Equity Student Movement, assistant in spreading the student voice and the issues to policy administrators, general counsel, and any member of the university administration as this protocol develops and will further contribution. We classified how long that was. Yeah, so I really want to get your guys' input, what you guys want me to say in that meeting, if you guys want to pass it or not. I feel like we should have like a small discussion before we formally pass it.
Well, I just endorsed it. I know I said that I would, and I just wanted to make that known right now. This is something that I believe is really, really important. And a discussion that Victor and I had a little bit after last week's meeting. And that technically MSU Denver can, to my understanding from conversations that I've had with Gregor, ISP, my folks at CERT, technically MSU Denver, and I could be wrong, cannot not allow ICE on campus, but they can do everything they can to protect students. And for me, this feels like one of those protections. And it was also one of our goals in the beginning of the semester. We had a retreat and we identified what our goals were for the semester. And one of our goals was specifically to support and help retain and make feel welcome undocumented students with varying levels of statuses, students who maybe are a citizen but just have questions, or maybe their friends who aren't a citizen. That was one of our goals, and this feels directly in alignment with that goal. And at the same time, I also do understand that this is a pretty I would say like politically charged resolution. In my opinion, it wouldn't be. Oh, I won't get into that, but I think it is pretty substantial, and I do agree. Some might call it contentious. I do not, but I think that it's really important, and it is in alignment with our goals. Do you know when the meeting is going to be next week?
It was supposed to be on Monday, but I told them that every single person is basically in 2 seconds tonight. Because it's too late, so they're rescheduling it to Tuesday, which we're still gonna be there.
I can be there.
Yeah, we'll try. I'll let them know that you want to be there, but they said I can be there. So I'll let them know.
Just for clarity's sake, where is the policy at since last week?
It was presented to the right people, and the right people want to meet. So basically, council, student affairs, the president, Ed Brown, the chief of staff of the president, also read his needs to be at the meeting as well. So here we'll be back Sunday. So it's in the right place. Those were my comments to Scott for that session. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you can really, you guys hit it on the nail, like, especially for goals that we put in the beginning of the semester. I feel like this resolution that we're proposing is a big way to show a unified, strong, and that is a strong student union that we are representing. And I don't think it's something that like needs to fear, but it gives you more security and comfortability that you know that the university will have your back and that you will be aware if such a thing to occur, because it isn't like doing it if it doesn't, but if it were to occur, and the worst scenario, we are prepared. We have things set up for this, so I think that it lines the force and it gives everybody that comfortability that the university has back on that we are doing students. I think at that union, at the meeting, it'd be good to show a pretty strong, front, unified front, when all of us in as a council, shown that like we're serious about this and that does matter to us a lot, matters to our fellow students and matters to our community. So,
I contacted Gregor and Yemi and myself who got authors of the proposal. And I told them that if they would like to meet before the meeting, since they have a unified just so we in support of that.
Dr. Barone threw in the chat that Jim Carpenter will also be at that meeting. Just for reference. I want to echo everything that Patrick Amelia just said. I feel like this is super in line with our goals, but I also want to thank you, Victor, for the time to make sure that this went through the proper channels before we actually formally voted on it as a council. That way we make sure we're keeping our collaborative relationship with upper administration and doing stuff in a good way while still getting it done and being, or not being afraid to get pushed back.
It's good that we had it done before and we ready to present it. It was just a perfect timing, really. So
Yeah.
I literally got the email yesterday. So
Any other final questions, comments, concerns on this resolution before we move over to voting? I will acknowledge we also have Susanna and Mike now in the room, so that's just better forums. Is there any of our guests that have any questions or delegates that have any questions on this resolution or comments? You don't have to, but just since you're here, you guys want to. Yeah.
I guess. But like, what I need is some sort of similar system in my school.
That's a great question.
yeah, I think ultimately, within like kind of like how Victor was saying, this was like something that was produced with the program within the university, which ISB. And I feel like we've kind of waited our time to essentially to support this bill that's gonna be, but just like how Haley and Victor said, we kind of we upper administration, we're collaborating with them to implement it. So in this case, we're basing off of Denver Public Schools, and I know you go to Dakota, so it's like Jeffco Schools has a different system. But I think the best way to get start that is to talk with the highest position there, which would be like the principal, or anyone that's like involved with student affairs to start to get the ball with it.
Yeah.
And do you want to follow up on that?
Yeah, the thing that I was just gonna say is even if there isn't a structure similar to what we're doing at the university, but this is something that you deeply care about, I would say gather research on it, whether that's research of like talking with your principal, talking with your dean, talking with somebody internally to your school system. You are a student in their district, so they are there to serve and support you. So if you want support with something, you are very much entitled to that as a student in that district. So even if there's not a, maybe a clear pathway, you could create one for yourself if this is something that you care about. And I encourage all of you to, even if there's not a formal pathway to something, get that, create it for yourself. And every system, educational system works different, but I encourage you all to go out and do it.
Well, said.
Great, last call for any questions, comments, concerns. Seeing as there are none, I motion to pass the resolution formally support a proposed protocol to allow the shutdown of the Jordan Success Building in the event of an immigration and customs enforcement with federal immigration agency presence on or near campus. Any objections? And abstentions? Resolution passes. Perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and move us back over to our first agenda item, which we had to table given we did not have quorum for voting on a constitutional amendment, but now we do. We have two more council members here. This was the second read of this amendment. It was just in regards to adjusting the credit requirements for an individual to be able to run and be on student government, having it be 9 credit hours distributed throughout the academic year for undergraduate students, and then 6 credit hours distributed out throughout the academic year for graduate students, with no less than 3 credits. Was there any questions or concerns for the two that weren't here? Rerun through that. About anything? Okay. Just one second to read it. Okay. It's pretty much in line with what we talked about last week. We decided to change it, and I believe everybody was. Okay, cool. So now let me have quorum. I'm going to motion to approve the amendment to Article 1, Section 2, Subsection 1, Paragraph 1 of our Constitution in regards to the elections related requirements. I'm going to do formal roll call, right? Michael Warner. William Coates. Patrick. Ryan is not present. Siobhan McKeon. And Matthew Rodman.
I have to abstain on this one because it would directly affect me.
And so, one not present, one abstention. Amelia. Hi. They did it together. Susanna Villalobos. Advisors and myself, Haley Glass. Aye. So I believe that is 8, which is a super majority, so the Constitution amendment passes. So since resolutions are a little bit more temporary in nature, even though they are so official, they don't go on our governing documents. So we just do like a simple objections, abstentions, and we see who's in favor or not. Whereas for the constitutional amendment, we do that roll call of the individual counselors just to make sure we have it on the record. And to make it a little bit more clear and official. Perfect. Speaking of constitutional amendments, I believe we have one coming from Mike in regards to state cap.
Yes, and unfortunately, I don't come with an apology of the committee. It was my full intention to come with a lot of research and this writing. But some things came up this week. I was not able to do that. Take such a as well. So I deeply apologize. Unfortunately, put this on the agenda and not have this ready for y'all. I don't feel it's appropriate to have this discussion right now in terms of my perspective. Unfortunately, you know, to have some sort of discussion. That's fine. I just don't get it. To be honest,
Would anybody be opposed to us, motioning to change this to discussion rather than speaking on the actual amendment? Motion that we open up a discussion on this possible removal of safe harbor farms constitution, taking off the amendment portion of it. Any objections? Any abstentions? Perfect. Well, Mike, do you want to lead this conversation? What's your idea for? No, okay. Okay.
Over the last few months, there's been some issues with SACAP, and especially in the treatment of our two representatives on that. So they were,
I'll pause you real quick, since we guess we can really briefly also explain what CCAV is.
that was,
Or maybe that could be a Matt question if it needs to be.
bad.
SACAB is known as the Student Advocacy Council or the Student Advisory, Student Advisory Committee. Could be very important. There's so many acronyms. But because we're a non-traditional campus and we have 3 different colleges and universities on the campus, state law was passed that created what's known as AHEC, or they rebranded as Auraria, which basically they're like the, comparative to like other colleges, they do the facilities management, that they're managing the facilities for 3 different institutions. So this committee gets 2 representatives from each school to sit on a committee that talks to the board of Auraria, or like the groundskeepers, the people run the facility and everything. And they make decisions on like parking fees, RTV, like our RTE passes, kind of goes through them. There are just some other bigger picture things that that committee does.
Well, we've noticed that over the last few times, they have treated 2 of our representatives appropriate, I would say. And especially in their communication with like the students as well. I myself have been on SACAD last year and now on SACAD this year. They do some good stuff, but overall our involvement with 2 counselors in it, I would argue could be better put, but they can be better put to use within MSU student government versus just saying that and bringing them, really those 2 representatives back in to work internally versus working externally. Of course, that would mean that we potentially lose a voice on SACAD. Not potentially, we wouldn't be on the board anymore, but we would lose that. So there is a, pros and cons to potentially removing SACAD from our constitution. So.
Can I have like what? I know the somewhat of the situation, but I don't think.
So removal in this case would be removing the language in the Constitution that requires us as a student government to fill those 3 positions. Meaning, we wouldn't have to give them 2 of our representatives beyond that board. That's what that meaning.
They are still required by state law to have to from school though, so they have to pull them from somewhere else, I presume, or.
That's actually where this conversation gets a little interesting in my head. Because the law actually states that there's a vacancy, they have to reach out to the student governing body of the institution. So they would still be reaching out to us to fill the positions. If we take them out of our constitution and it's used to, put students work.
I would rather be more on the cautious side because we are going to, even if CCAP to some people may not hold much ground. A lot of the upper administration does go to CCAP for student input, and Metro isn't on that board. And I see a potential loss in representation at Metro. And that would be very good for Metro in terms of representation. And also, they were working on trying to get a vote on the board for the area. And we're not at the table when they do that. Trying to get ourselves back into what they have to vote is going to be an entirely different battle. So I just caution on the other side. This could be a better way to define SACAP, but entirely removing it from our documents might be a little counterintuitive to what we want to do.
I was just gonna add, you don't have, this could be potentially offline conversation. But it is alarming to me that things have gotten so bad to the degree that we are even having this conversation. And so one, I'm like, what's going on? Two, I'm like curious if at all have any restorative conversations been held to try and repair harm. But again, I don't know the context. And not to say like not to diminish the harm that has been caused, but I agree with Victor and that public opinion might be, oh, SACAV, what do you do? There's actually a lot of power there because of the way that SACAV and the Auraria Board of Directors is actually written into Colorado state law. And so they essentially legislate this campus, in my opinion, through the implementation of the Auraria Board. And then SACAV, we have the opportunity to be on that board. So I say this to say that I'm cautious of removing ourselves from that without maybe some knowledge of what's been done to try and repair that. If you want to share, this could also be a later conversation. I mean, what that I'm missing information.
I think it was announced, like, unless I said that. Or you guys can follow up directly to that.
Yeah.
And then Patrick Sears follow up directly to that. Versus
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to follow up first.
So first up, we did actually have a closed session meeting about this, where we actually created an ad hoc committee to reach out to the other student governments to have a conversation. There's some hiccups with responses to the first meeting, but we talked to them, and I'm actually be sending out like a Wednesday meeting or something like that later today to try and meet after spring break. Because again, we're not directly trying to go that far, at least in my opinion, but trying to make sure we're working with our allies at least to collectively see what needs to be done. But it's also not a lot more issues than just even the removal of the infector. It's been having issues for a good while. And I'm also disappointed because I do agree with you, like the fact that we can work on higher level policy than there sounds great, but they also haven't let us. They didn't have any of that like their immigration, like the Auraria entity as a whole recently passed their immigration policy, which should have gone for SACAV and never.
They gave us immigration policy maybe 3 days in advance before the bond meeting was held. That shows actual, I guess, importance of SACAP's voice in those policies. So that's kind of a way to see how the rear board is looking at us and our representation. So that's something interesting that think about there. But also, I mean, there's a lot of things wrong with just in terms of how we got kicked off of SACAP. I mean, I think arguably we were probably one of the most unfortunate people on the bylaw condition and trying to get a good equitable system for everybody on campus. But yeah, because we didn't meet the requirements by 2 credits, we were here. So, and that brings up a lot of things as well in terms of like the equitable,
It's,
The ability for CCD to be represented. The CCD is only like traditionally a 2-year institution. And they don't necessarily take the same amount of credits as a full-time student for CU Denver and Metro. And even here at Metro, the full-time student is
are the requirements.
by law, for SACAP, it's all the same, but the requirements for each individual institution is different.
Back is no like.
So I have some contact.
And then I know I have Will, and then I had, and then some last two names. So, yes. Will and Matt. Yes.
So something that I've noticed, I'm sure other counselors know, is that they're very particular on what they enforce. They're cherry pickers, what I call them. So that is not right. You choose to just follow the set of rules you have set for yourself versus not follow the rules you set for yourself. And usually what I've seen, just from being on their last year, this year, is that they enforce the rules that are left, which is a problem. And over like the 2 years that I've been watching SACAB, or at least not SACAB, I mean, your area, is when we do try to implement change, like big change, they tend to push back. That they have to not allow that change, or when we try to get a vote every year, we're always trying to get a vote. And every year they shut us out. And so on one side, yes, you should really consider whether or not this and might consider the implications of that. On the other, it would be also a sign of protest because they, as Matt pointed out, have to come to us and if we're like you need to do better, you got to do better, or we're not going to. You have to change your state laws to go around this. And I know Matt has been talking to at least CCD about potentially. I should be saying we kind of one collective bargain with just so different direction. Awesome. It's really looking for
It's much more of like summarizing everything down here. It seems like on paper, right, we have a voice or an opinion that actually matters, that can make a difference within areas guidelines, which specifically are for us. Like we're the ones that are going to be following. We're the ones that are going to be on it. It directly affects us directly. So I was about to ask, I was like, how are we doing with talks? Because that was the whole point of ad hoc meeting was to really just kind of do our own investigation, SACAB and how it is, and getting communication with CCD and CD and CUW. But you said you've been in talks with CCD, and it's like maybe something there. What's going on with that?
It's been more, I've been having conversations with the other SACAB members and more trying to get together at the meeting. I did send out like one meet kind of thing a week ago. I didn't get enough responses, so we brought it again at the SACAB meeting. And I'll be sending out another one to try and meet actually this break. Because we didn't even have a meeting today because the council break. Like your school was on spring break last week.
Let's see. So since it seems like we've gone to reach, because I respect Mike's opinion a lot, because I expect experience more than anything else. I expect Victor and Matt, because you guys are pretty experienced in all this. And if it's something that the strongest men will, the strong consideration that we may have to ourselves to stay cap. And how Amelia was saying that we do have some power here, and that how Victor was saying that just to completely remove ourselves, especially in such an important meeting as to like giving ourselves that governing body, saying that you guys are the most influential. We can't let where we gotta take out the most influential people there. Because if we're there when we're doing something, and you see the big dog get out, that's not really gonna help anyone out there. It's not gonna help us out, it's not gonna help CCD, it's not gonna help them. So I was trying, if we really want to take this to the next level, such as doing things about the consultation, I was trying to recommend that we go in person and talk to CC and talk to C. We know their offices. Go and talk to them directly and say, hey, I take this serious. You got one, you guys want to follow all of this, or let them process it around and not give us the opportunity to voice our concerns, our opinion. Then yeah, we're gonna take a stronger place at it. And we already tried. We sent emails, waited, and we're talking about removing our constitution. That's how we mentioned earlier. Constitution is our governing document. It is an important document. If we're gonna take it, something like SACAP, and we want to take this removal serious, let's take it serious. Let's go in person. Let's talk. And let's get something going here. And if they don't want to meet, let's talk to the president, to the CCD, to CU Denver, and then we can get something going. And that way we can really see, hey, this doesn't really affect us. This doesn't help us. Let's do something together. Let's get it done.
I have Matt, and then if somebody wants to yield their time to Irby, then Savannah, then Siobhan.
Oh, no, that I was raising so that I could.
Yield your time to Irby. So I got Matt, then Irby, then Siobhan, then.
No,
Not
guys.
Savannah, not Siobhan.
So more of a direct response, that is the goal of the ad hoc committee. I think it is good that we're having this conversation right now. Because I do think we need to figure out what we want to draw our attention to the same. And I agree with you. I mean, or at least for me, my main goal is to try and work with the other two institutions. Because if at least one other institution joins us, it becomes more of a collective bargaining than just us removing us from the table and letting go of that any even little bit of power it might have. And I also want to point out that not only is JAG choosing to enforce their policy themselves, they've been selecting enforcing law. Because even with our removal, we should have been removed like that because we don't meet requirements and we should have had new people going in, but because you referendum on the ballot because we wasted a month going back and forth if me and Victor were removed. On top of that, they've been in violation of sunshine law this whole. There have not been any meeting minutes or agendas posted on the SACAP website, which AIC is the one who owns it. This whole activity. So I don't, and I've even tried to work with our ex officio, and because I was trying to figure out how to get more EMT access on campus. They told me that the bookstore was looking into it. I asked them who it was, and who the contact is, and they're like the owner, whoever runs the district. Which shuts us out, and it's information they should absolutely have because they're a tenant of AIC. But I don't know why we also weren't given basic information like that.
I'm gonna go ahead and move on to Irby, and then to.
I have a question. How can someone transfer their credit of requirement from studying CC to the MSU? And how does the credit requirements match with the CAP eligibility criteria to go right this one?
So the SACAP is like an entirely separate eligibility requirement. So the main issue is that CCD, since they are a community college, it's different requirements than MSU Denver. So then, in order to be a part of SACAP, the requirements don't exactly fit CCD's structure. Is that correct?
No, so what it is, if under state law, to be in SACAP, you have to be a full-time student.
But right.
It just says full-time students, both. And I believe CCD and MSU and CU Denver have the same requirement for undergraduate levels with 12 credits. But the issue with that is most of us are non-traditional students, and that would affect more CCD because they're only a 2-year institution. So, and you would have to have a GPA to be able to run, so it would also limit them to only potentially being able to have 1 year in this position, which also can lose out on some continuity, like transfer of power from year to year. But then one I also recognized was on the graduate side, MSU Denver has the full-time staff and graduate students is 6, and UCD has theirs is 5.
No background of us and background. Creating hypothetical that help us go through that changes is gonna benefit us all, cause then like, if this way, like, for example, if this goes this way, but they say this way, you wouldn't have a stuff so a hypothetical plan. This is just someone said, and that goes through this way. Like, that sounds a lot of what we can, which it is, but that whole time, like, with bushwashing, like you said, it's because of like, how will we gonna like go on saying like this and that to them? And if we feel we have a structural plan, like how we will put them ourselves as a
Yes, likewise, I agree, because going to things and without like really thinking should practice for not just us, but for like opportunity that we have to maybe make changing things, because it seems like the environment and city cabinets want to change. Whether that be in our favor or be in various favor, I think that would ultimately be up to us. I think big thing that we're doing here right now is that's not just on 2 members of the council. It's not just on 3 members, but it's something that ultimately is us. Or talking to each other and getting communication so we can get out of this game plan now. Just like I was saying, being prepared. What it is. And I think the thing that we're doing is like going this step by step. We haven't rushed into it. But I do think if things aren't being taken serious by other people, that we should show them a solution.
He said more of a life lesson that can loosely apply in this scenario. If you aren't at the table, you're on the. I also want to say you guys set up this ad hoc committee for a reason, and I don't know if you guys have had the opportunity to meet yet with even just like within the councils. Like I haven't heard anything about that personally, so I would strongly recommend before we jump into a constitutional amendment, although it may end up being the solution we choose to take. Get the ad hoc committee together, even if you're just meeting with MSU Denver students to start, try and with those other entities, and then move on from there. I did have Stephen and then Amelia and then Will. I also know our guests have solutions, so I want to say thank you. So,
Yeah, so one thing I want to say, folks, is that I think this is really good discussion. I do think this is helping Matt and Mike very much as they're pulling information for the ad hoc committee too, in terms of that. So a few things that I'm hearing that I just want there to be consideration or thought around, right? Initially, the conversation started with this idea that will we be removing them from the Constitution? That doesn't necessarily mean you all would be giving up your voice. Just like every other committee on this campus comes to TSAC and says, we need 3 members, we need whatever we need. Rather than having it as an elected position, TSAC just has those 2 positions, that position that's elected, just normally elected as a counselor. And then you would treat this as another committee versus an elected position. So that's something to consider for the council as you all are doing. The other couple thoughts I just want to share is remember, there is a difference between voice and power. Power comes in the way our legal and governmental systems are set up with vote. Oftentimes, you create public comment sessions. That's voice. Does that voice may carry power for some, but not all. Whereas vote, those who have vote can equally, that is the power that you have. So that's where influence also comes in. I know that I had an ex officio meeting today because, SACAB was canceled. And, what I want to make sure is that not only are you all talking as the ad hoc committee co-chairs and the rest of TSAC with, with the other colleges, I think after my ex officio meeting today, there is an openness to bring Skip and Alyssa to your ad hoc meeting as well, if you wanted to do that. There is an openness. So I want to put that as an option as well. The final thing I want to share is that I know that at the most recent ABOD meeting, and this is going to contradict everything that I've said earlier, so bear with me. Victor represented SACAB essentially at that. And Victor's voice actually carried very well at that meeting regarding immigration policy for your area campus. Now, I don't know how much ABOD listened, but Auraria staff definitely heard some really good things. So I think, yes, I'm saying that Victor's voice was powerful, even though he was a non-native position. But I also stand by this idea that voice doesn't always equal power and vice versa. So consider that as you know.
It is 12:29, I know I'm something to leave at 12:30. I just wanted to thank you guys so much for spending our meeting, for taking time out of your day to listen to us. I know it's kind of a contentious meeting at points, but I swear we also do fun things in student government. But just thank you again for being here. Thanks so much for having us.
Want to just pause to regroup?
We'll give it, let people. So we can table too.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You all know how to get back downstairs or, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, counselors and delegates, please go ahead and join. Just while we're coming back together. Just while we're coming back together, folks, I just want, hey, folks. Yes. I just want to applaud you all for walking through the agenda and Amy for leading that. I think you all showed this group something really powerful, how collegiate student governments can be run. So I just want to give you all a lot of credit. I certainly want to apologize. I forgot that they were on our docket today for attendance, so I take full responsibility of that. Otherwise, I would have prepared you all and given you the heads up. That's on me. I'm sorry. But anyway, I turn the floor back over to you all.
I did still have Amelia and Will as my next up for continuing the conversation you guys want to have with.
Yeah, I do
Okay, cool.
actually. I was just gonna say, and it was like in direct response comment to, so I didn't go, but if you do wanna do a boycott, and they would need to change it through state law, which would, and they wouldn't be able to do that until next spring because Colorado legislative session is only from January till May. So if you wanna drag it out, if you wanna strategically, whatever you want to do, I think that if you didn't already know that, it's an important thing to keep in mind when you're creating your strategy, is that they couldn't change that law. So next session, they could try during this session, but they couldn't get a sponsor. This late in session, they could not get a sponsor. And then we'll.
Right now, they're going through our bylaws that would eventually, like the ad hoc committee should look at them, give me their input, so I can put the input on the bylaws to have the bylaws change. I think that is I'm gonna speak for Will, as Pete said, but I think we should be willing to work with them at least one more time. I don't know if we'll fit for that, but, with the ad hoc committee, try to actually work things out as they're changing their bylaws, it seems like an opportune time to actually implement some changes. We might have more say as students on SACAP. I could see that being very beneficial to us. And make sure that any work prior to me and Siobhan getting on SACAP from Victor and Matt doesn't get lost in there. For me personally, I'm willing to work with them one last time before we do that, but I'm also cautious because at this point, I've seen it so many times, the pattern was just being thrown to the sideline, fed very little information, pushed back on it. That I don't trust that they will really change much or at all. It's just more for appeasement purposes and actual, like Steven was saying, power. So I know for me personally, I'm willing to work with the ad hoc committee and try to work with them one last time. But I would definitely argue that if that doesn't work, the returning counselors and whoever gets elected in, hopefully does resort to more extreme measures to get what we need to get done.
I thought I'm not against it, trying to work with them. Because even though it's the similar pattern that happens over and over again, within that time of trying to work with them, we could also use that time to see how we could start to be and how if we do take them off the country, if we do decide to go come, we do decide to do this X, Y, Z. Because most likely don't have a change of mind, but going out to them, we all trying to talk with them, we should take that advantage that time. Just figuring good. That's just not mine.
I was just thinking, if the ad hoc committee is going to allow skipping a listener to be a part of it, it's like it's then I would just be cautious on it. It should be good. Because, yeah, because you don't want, I feel like the more information you were given, the more you think against allowing this to happen. So I just caution on that. But definitely.
The idea I have for the first meeting is just bringing in together two student governments. I did try and expand it a hair for not just the SACAB members, but also like any other representatives that might be relevant. Or I also am trying to invite one of our delegates who's also planning on running for SACAB, just so they can get some awareness of what's going on before they actually come into office, if they get elected. So trying to loosen up within like the three institutions, but I think we all need to come to a first meeting and also like this similar style of discussion just to like get us all to where we're kind of playing with the same material and ideas to find a better path.
Patrick?
I was gonna say, I could help coordinate CC side if we wanted to meet with more than just their representatives. So I saw one, I think they had two. Their council has been very, I mean, I remember the meeting very down to engage. I still cannot get a hold of Steve Denver. I can't even get a hold of their advisors. But I can commit to chatting about that with you later. And I just want to ask a clarifying question. Is the ad hoc committee within SACAP or within our council? What?
We created that in our closed session meeting.
Okay.
Well, we talked about it there and at the Friday meeting.
I agree.
Because I would like to be involved with this.
Huh.
And I think all of us would like to be involved in this for all of this. What do you want to get into, Patrick?
Yeah, so I think you guys bring up a good point. I think CCD, I don't think that'll be a big thing, but we get to the seriousness, right? Of the matter. Does it sound better that both governments, both councils met together or two representatives of each government talk to each other? You know what I mean? Like, wouldn't it be better is that MSU government, student government, TSAC, got together, meeting with CCD government and talk, all of us talk together. Instead of just like the ad hoc committee. The actual committee, that's really much more how we were talking about and thinking about things and investigating and things were if it was appropriate to even move further with this idea. As far as CU Denver, I think the mode with that best way, if they don't want to talk to us through virtually, they're right across from our office.
And I've done that multiple times.
And I'm just gonna walk and you know, no one has time. I'll literally walk over there and be, hey, where's the president or who's your chair? And let's talk.
Yeah, or I guess you're correct. Mine is just a clarification. That's what I was saying, Patrick, is in addition to the ad hoc committee, I think if both CCD council and MSU Denver council came together, that is what I was saying that I could, yeah, that's what I was saying I could facilitate.
That's kind of the purpose of the ad hoc committee. And it's just because it's an ad hoc committee doesn't mean that it can't be all council or something.
Yeah.
It just means it's a temporary committee that is doing this one job. Just like any other committee, like everybody can help out with PR. Everybody can help out in this. It sounds like what some of the opinions that are being thrown out is that we should not just do like an invite to like the SACAB reps and open it up to other members of the other student governments, but just email it, blast all of them.
Yes, that's what I'm.
And see who wants to show up.
That's what I was gonna say, because though, if you frame it as like a committee, it sounds like an opt-in situation. This, obviously, like, if you have things to do, take care of it, but this is sounding to the degree where it's like. Okay, mandatory.
Jump number will and then.
Apologies. Back to Matt's point, I just would like to take some time clarifying what the exact purpose of this ad hoc committee is, because we keep bringing it up, but I haven't heard like a specific goal set for this ad hoc committee.
So the basics of the ad hoc committee is to have a discussion about our future relationships with SACAP and the RARE. The reasons why there hasn't been as much definition of that is my idea with the ad hoc committee, that first meeting was to help establish that, start the conversation. We also get the viewpoints from the other student governments to try and build something more collaboratively. So like, and I like having the conversation about the removal, even if it's not going to the point of removal, because it spurs this conversation. Because it can be, we can find other solutions, or it could be collective bargaining or something else, but I want to do it more collectively and try and take some of that slower pace.
Victor, could you start with a follow-up because we've been on this topic of conversation for a minute.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of this conversation could be held in crazy concepts and ad hoc committee meeting. So if we could just get that on the calendar, which I've shared with all the counselors, there seems to be heavy interest. Not necessarily with the terms that's mandatory attendance, but just strongly encouraged. And loop in some delegates, maybe we can talk a little bit more about how we want to approach this, maybe try to get the other universities tied into it as well. It could be beneficial to just talk our council to start though. Totally up to you. I know you and Mike are co-chairing that, so however you guys deem it fit, but let's get something on the calendar. Because clearly this is something that needs to be talked about since we've been talking about it for half an hour.
And when scheduling, can you just look at the Google form that we filled out for PR for people's availability, if possible?
Perfect. And with that, we're gonna go ahead and move on to board and committee announcements and updates, starting with our very own Michael Waters.
All right, I'm same for this, actually, same for this. So, because there's a lot to talk about. First I'll give you guys, the content for the last 2 days. I've been in board meetings all day. And then maybe take a minute at the end, look for a moment for some privilege. Yeah, if that's all right, you know, so. But, first and foremost, we start every board session meeting with committee meetings. That was when I was in all day last Thursday. We start with our budgets, so our finance and audit committee. So, little context, the university currently runs on a $2,228 $0.6 million budget. That's what we're running as per the year, it's set by the board every year. It's expected to kind of meet up to that point as fiscal year ends. We're going to meet at that point, and that's usually in the summer. And in June, we'll have a new vote on new budgets, all exciting things. We got a projection from the state funding model and the state joint budget committee. Governor's request was a very small increase to higher education. About, what was it? I think it was about 20 million in total. MSU would see about 1.2 million, but that is 10 million actually. And so this is not great. State cut taxes. We're projecting a shortfall, and we're kind of determining how to do that. How to kind of fight against that and keep everyone here and all this stuff. So, but I am optimistic on those discussions. I think the work Amelia does in the back is extremely important. SAB included in that, part of those conversations. Those are the real conversations we've had, and I'm really excited to hear that report in June. So, that's tuition is up. Well, actually, putting that real quickly, the governor's request also included a 2.3% increase for residential tuition and 2.4 for non-residential tuition. The governor kind of dictates how much the university can raise tuition. That's what he said is most, that's the amount for this year, basically. Moving forward, one big thing is insurance premiums are up in the state. We pay about $400,000 to $500,000 insurance premiums as a university. We're looking at that going up to 600, 700. So we're looking at outside sources, whether or not we need to have, this is the state insurance, but it's state insurance. We're looking at other options to get that number down. So there's some updates in there. Back engagement, I said that. So enrollment update, these are fun numbers. Full-time undergraduates, that's up by 6%. That's really exciting. But the headcount is going up to 1.9%. So it's exciting, a little more statistics. Average age university, 24.7. We're 54% female population, opposed to the 45 male population. 57% of our students are first generation students. That's always really exciting here. And 96% of our students are in-state. And 55% of our students are students of color. So these are always cool to hear. Moving on to kind of academic and student affairs committee, that's the second committee meeting we had yesterday. We voted as a board to discontinue 3 concentrations in computer science. That's application development concentration, that is network systems and admin concentration, and that is a web development admin concentration in the aerospace systems. Low enrollment, all that stuff. It's being moved into different majors and minors. So easy stuff there. Let's see here. We had a talent pipeline report, so how our students are going from university onto job force. It's a very tight market right now. If you try to apply for a job, it's tight out there. But some interesting facts. Carlo is leading in aerospace, energy, and quantum research and development. So that's the interesting field. Government affairs update. We kind of talked about this. So we had our government affairs expert come in talking about federal governments. Lots of things are going on in the news, executive orders left and right. How does that affect MSU? I'm happy to say, as of right now, the executive orders, no funds from the federal government have been impacted by any executive order to date. MSU, the university does not anticipate any impacts as of right now. So we're going full course ahead with our values and our mission. So that's really exciting to hear. Department of Education, we expect no layoffs or no impact either there as well. That is not taken into consideration the impacts to financial aid. And of course, the other essential services that our students here rely on to go to school. That was not part of that presentation, but as of right now, we're not projecting any short-term impacts. To here, yeah, so that's kind of generally where we're at there. Quick present update. We're having a new provost, as of Monday, the new search management provost. It's an escalated search, because we need a provost in these times. We do. So that's going on there. And then I think that's generally all the big updates. Any questions there?
You repeat the update about the provost?
Yes, so as of Monday, a new search committee has been launched for provost. There's discussions whether we keep our interim provost in or do we expend a lot of resources, maybe consult an outside firm for another provost. They came to the decision that we do need a provost, but it's going to be held in an internal committee held in-house.
There's been a lot of turnover. Who does the provost directly report to?
President and the board of trustees. It is so yes. In regards to the turnover in the provost's office, it's something we are taking a deep look at. Why did our most recent provost, who we spent a year in a committee searching for, leave abruptly? So it's something that the board is taking a look at and considering as we choose.
Anybody has any further questions or concerns about the search for the new provost as well? President Davidson and Ed Brown reached out to me and asked me to be on that search committee, so I would be assisting in that as well.
Stuff search committee, and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
That's what I'll be doing that for these, yeah. That's reviewing.
lastly, I'll take my point. This is a bittersweet meeting and I apologize for being tardy, but this is actually my last board meeting as your guys' representative for the board. It's bittersweet because but I'm actually graduating. By the time the next committee meeting comes, you'll have a nice, fresh, brand new student trustee to represent all the students on this campus. And I just want to take a minute to say thank y'all I know all y'all here have always known me as your student trustee. It has been the honor of a lifetime to serve. It is not easy, I'll say right now. It's being able to represent all 19,000 students on this campus is a tough job. And it's funny because I watched this meeting, I knew this was my last meeting. But as per tradition, I'll be at the June meeting to introduce the new student trustee to all members. There's a little ceremony they do for outgoing student trustees as well. But I just want to say thank you all so much. It has been absolutely my honor, privilege to represent all y'all. Transition plans from now on until our next student trustee is elected. I'm going to work on connecting them to the resources they need, preparing them for the fantastic and awesome role it is here. Some highlights of kind of my tenure that were pointed out to me. I have 3 here, but really working on the strategic plan for the university going forward. I think that's what's going to take us into the next level of the university. If you all can see the meetings on how it's going in the university, it's going pretty well. And I'm excited and optimistic for the future of this university. Food pantry expansion, when I came here, it was just a closet. And now it's a vibrant kind of space for students. And then I was pointing out to me, it's like, oh, I was in love with meeting just to do that. It's awesome. And then over the 30 brand new projects coming to this campus, as short as like HVAC systems being replaced, to student housing, health institute tower coming in, and then our new event center finally filling up that freaking pool. Those are going to be all being conducted and being in the works in the next few years. And I'm excited to come back and see those new contributions. So I just want to take that moment. I appreciate y'all so much. It's been longer than I'm excited to gracefully bow out. So thank you so much.
Yeah. We'll have a month and a half with us.
Work doesn't end here. All right, moving up to cab updates. On the bill.
Well, because we need to have one meeting, so, yeah, and we're, as we said earlier, we're working to updating the bylaws right now, so.
Sam sent a message in the chat earlier that you had to bow out early I saw something pop up on the screen. Did he send you his?
Yeah, so essentially, if you all are okay with, either Armando or I getting that, we have 12 election applications turned in, which is really exciting. And he said that there's a 13th should be coming in to Mr. Sam's office today. So we should have upwards of 13, which is very exciting. It's all those famous Amos cookies. Good job, Sam. I know you're out there somewhere.
Sam, if you're watching this. It's not there. Is that all, Sam, then? Cool. When is the town hall, you know? Kind of like,
Armando, do you remember when the town hall is? I should remember this. I don't.
after spring break? Anyways, whether you're running or not, I encourage you guys all to go to the town hall, support the people that are running for next year, even if you are not. But then if you are going to be running for next year, you should most definitely be there for the town hall.
Yes. When is it?
If we can figure out that date, that would be good.
Awesome.
Accountability commission.
I think
The
I
town
know.
hall's April 7th.
What did Armando say?
April 7th, town hall.
Oh. On a Monday? What time is it?
The town hall is going to,
What do you say?
And that's.
the town hall is going to be during the multicultural lounge block when he's tabling. So I believe it's at 2 o'clock.
3 to
I can
5.
get you those exact times. There you go, 3 to 5.
Somebody repeat that for the larger audience.
It is going to be in Multicultural Lounge and it's going to be on 7th April, 3 to 5.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Awesome. Moving over to our accountability committee, Will, any updates?
Yeah, so we're still meeting with the leagues, trying to figure out the best way forward for our guidelines. And different approaches to restorative justice. So we're still working on that. Currently, me and Matt is going to training after spring break. During spring break. Thank you, Matt, for that. And yeah, on that piece, let's see, something else.
What type of training?
It's a restorative justice training, so different types of, or different forms of how to approach restorative justice. If anyone's interested in that, that has more details. That's during spring break.
It's not just us, it's for any student who wants to do it. It's with the Lee's Krumholtz and the Dean of Students Office. It's the Thursday and Friday after we get back to June.
It's great. Another thing, sorry. No, you're good. We're good. Another thing, we're working on some resolution in regards to establishing better procedures when we move our meetings and being more transparent, holding ourselves more accountable to being more transparent with the student body. So that is going to come down the pipeline pretty soon. We're still working on that. Another thing is if I call your name out, I do need to talk to you. So, and I'm sure some of you may. I need to talk to Michael Warner, Victor Delgado, and Amelia Federer.
By association.
That is all.
See ya, guys.
Perfect. Moving over to our budget committee.
Okay, so not much change except for big. I lied. I forgot to add it in here, but probably it was at the day for our meeting. We were discussing about moving transferring. But actually, Ryan, can you pull up the budget? Quick little look, we discussed. If you guys recall, I'm not sure if everyone was there, but those of the budget committee were present in an emergency urgent meeting last minute. Code red time. We we had a go see to approve the flight of one of our counselors here for the trip, and we had to do a 730, in which all unanimously. What's going on? Phone up. Unanimously voted to proceed with that, and so it will be taken out from our PR budget. For $750, so that's gonna be the big piece there. As you guys can see, a lot of the numbers have changed around. That's because I had to use the math the correct way because I was doing it a different way, and that's why it looked like we were negative, but really weren't. So I fixed that. Everything's good, up to date. We're not broke. So, whew. We're good. The only thing that is gonna be at a lower rate is going to be our leadership development fund, and that's after our purchases for the plane trip, which would be understandably around maybe less than 1,000, might be like a couple hundred, might be left in there. So, and on that, we'll be okay. And everything else, everything's good. Just like if you guys do any events, I'm advised, or like anything like that, I know you guys have to send, because I have to do the same for PR. Send that spreadsheet to me as well. Independent, and Armando's been there a pretty good job, and Steven as well, sending me the receipts to put it inside the receipt tracker we have. But if you guys are gonna send it, just include me into the link, into that email chain, so we can get things like, that way I'm in communication, because as per the budget guidelines, you have to approach the budget meeting for consultation for each, even though it is respected. That's fine.
Oh, my question is, do we have money to get snacks for the office? And snacks, to get to see.
Absolutely, yeah, because snacks is community. I would say yes, however, I do have a small, I am concerned on to up to date with the snacks that we have from the council, because I've only received one receipt from to this day for the snacks we have in the office. And I know, speaking of Brandon and looking at the pantry myself, we have bought more than one time snack. So I want to make sure we have enough before we buy more, because I don't want to be spending and basically end up in the same situation we had the office budget, because that was already at like a negative 3,000 deficit. And I'd rather not have to rearrange that. We already did a budget reconciliation that took a matter of days, and I'd much rather make sure that we have everything. And if we have something, absolutely. I want to make sure anyone that comes to the office or grab something to drink or something to eat, just because sometimes things are stressful and sometimes you just need a snack. So that would be my only thing, if I could just get just for the budget, at least for the snacks, because I'm definitely missing like a few receipts from that, without a doubt.
Thank you.
All right, as we move forward with the updates, just keep in mind that there's only 15 minutes left in the meeting. I'm moving to PR committees. I don't have nothing to report. And if Patrick has something to do.
Yeah, so as far as things that the PR committee, if I recall, is gonna be the whole council that's involved. Me, Sana being the chair. So I'll open the floor to the fact that we have someone that's gonna be our social media manager. Right, it's one of our proud delegates over there. Thank you. So anything posted social media, please put it into Jamani as well, so she may know what to post and to get things spread out. That'll be her designated bill with the committee. We Susanna, we try. We do a lot of good things, and just more help, the better things we can get things done, the faster, quicker, less stressful for everybody. So if you have any social media posts or anything like that, of course, you have to run back to the PR committee first, because that is something that we have to discuss, as that is our role in the committee, within the council. But just let us know, and then we can get Jamani, and she actually did a good job. I saw the post for the meeting this week, so I was like, pretty good. And if there's any ideas of like what else we could post, because my initial was just to tell about our weekly meeting that we have. But maybe add in what resolutions we passed, what potential things are should the student be looking at. just as the immigration thing that we were talking about today, just like SACAP, people can have an opinion, be informed of what's going on throughout our meetings.
You guys want me to post it? Like, kind of like what we.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I was gonna talk to you.
I figured I just didn't.
Oh, yeah, no, when we had a brief conversation, but you know, now it's just like, you know, it's more formal, we have everybody here. I did want to address it because, you know, that's why I wanted to open it for, if anyone has anything else, right, any ideas or anything, want to post social media, work for me, Susanna, and then Bonnie as well. Great part of that. Other than that, get some good events here. I'm pretty sure we were talking about the after dark, potentially the funnel cake there. We also have, the BIPOC that Stephen, that me and, Victor knows, so you're gonna have to coordinate for that. I didn't read the email. But if we could, that would probably be left for PR committee. You guys wanna talk? Just please come in, let's get some events going, let's get our name out there. That's all.
Sustainability.
We have our meeting for this week and go, I need a resolution to support burritos and mac and cheese.
We love supporting mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese, that'll come probably after.
And I believe our current plan for tabling is we're gonna have students decorate the remaining tote bags that we have left from the holistic resource fair, so repurposing those, but then also encouraging, you know, since we have bag fees anyways, getting those reusable bags. And then, okay, anything coming out of faculty senate or staff senate this week, or was there any meetings?
Yeah, we did have.
You did have meetings?
So they were, updating the, catalog. For the undergraduate, specifically for the graduate programs. They're changing the credits and all that stuff. So that people can graduate quicker and on time. And,
Then also this week, we're working with, Liz Goodnick, who runs the Senate, present about the King's Rewards program. And also finally made a connection actually going to the Gives Day yesterday. Found the staff center president, so I'm emailing them so we get the next meeting and also present on the.
I just wanted to see, maybe, because I know a lot of professors are pretty generous, and sometimes if you wanna, I know Shabbat told me like, times that we would ask them to present something from TSAC or to announce something, maybe like a formal, I'm gonna say presentation, but a formal request that we made that, for example, in this time for the elections, that our potential candidates can present themselves to the class, either 15 minutes before, 15 minutes after, just to get a lot more people like that for PR. That would be pretty good. We can get, you know, we have the students there, we have ourselves there. That's the way to direct fund get some attention about it.
like a formal letter request.
Yeah, like a form, just make it like formal, you know, like without just saying, oh, hey, Professor, can I
actually like that.
15 minutes before, you know, it should be.
So I'm gonna work especially with Liz Goodnick, who I've related when that is faculty senate. To be on their next agenda though, I'm trying to finish up some of the stuff for the King's Rewards program by the 4th, which I believe is the like Wednesday after we get back, to be put on their next agenda. If we want to do something like that and try and make that another ask on top of that for the next meeting, it would still need to be at the same time. So you can still meet and discuss what that could look like, or it could, yeah, the next. Well, I'm just checking because the next meeting might also be after elections. I believe it's the. Yeah.
For same time, maybe you guys wanted to chat about this
Yes.
after.
Yes.
I'm gonna go ahead and move over. Next, we have our delegate updates. Do any of our delegates have anything they want to share out? Irvi?
So I'm currently working on a project with Matt, with peer mentor group for peer mentor group. So it's like focusing and advocating and supporting them. Through my observations and discussion with peers, I've concluded that enhancing support for peer mentor group would significantly help students professionally and academically. So one of the potential solutions I've identified is increasing student engagement by encouraging them to get involved and interact with organization. For like long-term success, we can have like mentees and mentors have more strategically ensuring that mentors are paired with students in their similar fields like business intelligence with business intelligence, mechanical engineering, and additionally to prevent mentors from becoming overwhelmed. Like I have worked with peer mentors, so they were like telling that we have 30 students or 60 students, and there's only one peer mentor who's dealing with one major, and they're not aligned well. So the peer mentors tend to forget what exactly is happening in the student's life and what is their past activities they've been doing or organizations they've been were having meaningful impact with. So it should be like more balanced workload for meaningful mentorship and effectiveness for students as well as mentors so that yeah, so the key recommendation is to increase the number of workshops for both mentors, mentees, and some professionals from the companies. Like if professionals can guide the students and mentors, like how to support and get engaged with students. So yeah, so lastly, the funding was an obstacle to prevent this outreach, but we should explore and support this organization. So if any of the counselors would like to be a part of this, so please. Have my email? Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing it, Rudy. I believe, is that Sky, online with, delegate update? Is there some sort of volume?
No, they're still on.
Speakers.
They're on mute.
No, they're on mute.
Oh, mute, Sky.
There we go.
So good.
God. Can you hear us? Armando,
Sky, did you have an update?
Armando didn't hear us. Oh, yeah. I still have.
Or maybe if you want to type it.
Honestly.
It's having difficulties with tech.
Can someone scroll over to the chat feature on my computer real quick?
Maybe if, you just want to throw it in the chat, Sky, and then we'll just go ahead and keep this moving since we only have 5 minutes left on the meeting, and then we'll just read out your update. I guess all that we have left is open floor announcements. And then advisors. I know.
I hope this is what you were referencing when you sent me the email, but the increase in the student fees. Is that what you were referencing? Okay, so there's a lot of things coming out about that. And quite frankly, I will be having a meeting with Andrew, who's the director of that, because a lot of it is like very budget fiscal or things that I don't understand all the way. But I do understand that our, kind of as Mike mentioned, our budget is massively like shrinking. And yes, and if we keep going the way that we're going with funding, education in Colorado the way that we are, we will not have that, we will not be able to sustain that past 2030. And one of the most, I was reviewing, our decks, and one of the things that I felt like was really important to share with you guys is this, first, B1, the current student facilities bond fee. So the bond fee is going from 88.32 semester, which will increase to 90.43 a semester effective fall 2025. Given that I only have 3 minutes left, I'm not gonna read the,
Thank you.
because I'm not, what's the word,
It's okay.
Minutes.
By the way,
because of why, I'm not gonna read the why. The next one is, so the current typically base fee is 6.96 per semester, but it will increase to $7.3 a semester, effective fall 25. And then the current student sustainability fee is at $10.61 a semester, and will increase to $10.87 a semester, effective fall 25. And then, so the current RTD fee, it says no student fee, student opt into purchase of semester pass and pending contract from RTD. I don't know what that, but I can try, we can move it into the ad hoc, we can move it elsewhere, but those are my current updates out of UpBack, but I will clarify with Andrew, Stephen, because you sent me that email, I was like.
give 30 seconds, Mike.
Quick note for advisors, UpBack is such a complicated committee. And it's so much so that I struggle to this day, really onboarding someone the next UpBack committee chair. I would ask, let's just put some resources to that.
And that's good for me to know, and I didn't know that, so that could be something that I can work with whoever's gonna be the next. Or our next committee rep.
Just so we can put it for next time.
I'm gonna go ahead and motion to extend the meeting by 10 minutes to get time, because I know we have a couple other announcements and advice RTs left. Any objections? Any abstentions?
Sorry, so. No, you're fine. Do what you need to do. I would like. I'll take some.
Got no more announcement to do.
Yeah, I don't know, yeah, I'm just really quick. So it's gonna be after spring break, but I was talking with Steven, to try and set in something up. Like, I wanna say committee, well, I'm not really sure what the title is, it was like, almost like a committee, but like, just so we can get all the clubs and organizations all under one place and time, so we can talk about scheduling events, and I mean, honestly, for me, it's just getting a stronger student union in between. I mean, it's pretty easy to get to people that already are involved, people that are already involved in groups. There are multiple of our own student representatives, and just getting together, communication, making sure that we're on the same page. And you know, if anything were to happen, or regardless, you know, things like that, at least we can voice our opinion there. And it's a direct line communication between the student government and the student body. So if anyone wants to be a part of that, I'll be working on that more after spring break. I'll let everyone know.
Well,
I want to thank all the delegates present and all the delegates who have been here for the entire month and their advocacy efforts. So thank you. That being said, the delegates who have not met the requirements, I will be reaching out to them through a restorative justice lens with the support of the issue to see what we can do to support to make sure that they meet those requirements.
any other announcements, updates? Real quick, I know Mike covered the content of these updates, so I'm not gonna share the content of them, but I have been forwarding you guys the federal policy updates from Casey Gearhart. So just keep your eye out, if you guys wanna stay updated on that way you guys are informed of university's response to these sort of things. And stay away from misinformation. Like, okay. Advisors.
Sure, I only have two things. One, the crew going to New Orleans, this weekend, i.e. less than, 24 hours from now, tomorrow. Please stick around. We're gonna meet here just to go over the agenda. Second thing, related to Haley and Mike's updates, related to those federal policy updates. Do read those federal policy updates. The main one that came out today pertains to the Department of Ed and the most recent executive order for dismantling the Department of Ed. While there isn't necessarily anything coming out in terms of student loans or anything like that, I'm thinking long-term implications. What does that mean? Where do student loans go? Where do federal grants, Pell grants, anything like that go to? And what does this really mean when they're saying they're putting it back into the state? So if you all want to have a conversation, happy to do that. I'm also going to drop a link into the chat. They had an expert this morning on public radio, that because I'm old and I listen to Colorado Public Radio, and they had someone talk about what this executive order really means And I think it said some really neat things that would better explain it than what was in today's federal policy updates. So if you're all interested, I'm gonna drop that in our full TSAC chat, so that way you all can have a listen.
Perfect.
It's only like 5 minutes.
Armando, and then I do see this guy's message in the chat. I'll have to ask somebody that out loud, because apparently I'm blind, but, Armando first.
Yes.
No, no updates. I've just been working on the NOLA stuff, so I'll talk to y'all after.
See you in New Orleans. Can somebody read out Sky's?
Working with the director of ITS on changing the name of change procedures at MSU Denver, who please have TSAC resolve to support this
Can you
approach.
speak up, sorry?
I can't hear you, sorry.
Sorry. I'm working with the director of ITS on changing the name change procedures at MSU Denver. Hope to have TSAC resolve to support this effort at our next meeting after spring break. If you want to work on this, reach out and I'll add you to the chat if I've got going, yeah.
Perfect, thank you, Sky. And then John, what do you have to say? All right, any last final updates? Okay, let's see. I'm not going to adjourn this. meeting.
Oh, yeah, sit down.
Exactly.
Sit down.
Nobody's seconding my motion.
I second your motion.
Yes, any objection? Any abstention?
Can you just hold for a
See you in New Orleans. No, you don't. You have to be here.
People, if folks need to use the restroom and planning on staying, please use the restroom. I don't want folks walking in and out while we give these updates.
Yeah.
I
Damn.
had it. Victor, please,
Yes,
get it done.
yes,
Thank you.
I'm gonna do it, President.
Schedule?
yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
What are you talking about? No.
we are go look at it.
Oh, higher.
Oh, you have to be.
Armando, it's Steven. Do you want me to cover travel stuff? And then do you want to go through the schedule each day or what do you want to do?
Oh, okay, you're
Okay.
Yeah, we,
Well,
yeah,
you
we
have
can
to
go through travel stuff.
word.
And then I'll
You
go over the
want to
itinerary
Are you a
stuff.
baby?
Now you take it,
Are you sure?
now you're taking too long. I'm using my words now. You're taking too long.
I thought you were an hour and a half for work and you can't even say this.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
PTSO.
I'm Tommy.
Thank you, Brent.
Bye, Haley. Thank
sure.
you. Thank you, Steven. Have a good weekend. Good to see you too.
I just wanted like the record to reflect that I put on these press ups on Saturday and I still on, which has never ever happened in my life. So
I'm sorry I was so stern. I just know that we tend to mull around and then we'll start. It's like, oh shit, I gotta go potty. Yeah, no.
I gotta go.
Back to the list before.
Have this
I need to go.
1:30.
Before I need to go.
Oh. What'd you say? They may kick us out. They may not. Well, we should be okay.
You could just tell them, be like, we're wrapping up. It'll be fine.
Yeah. All right. Who's here? Let's. Yeah. Why don't you hold a little closer, Arby's?
Armando!
I see that fresh Brock's braids tight on your head.
No, hold on, wait.
You hear it?
Just take a moment for
Armando, you're slapping her head too.
Yeah.
Sorry, my head was itchy. I don't know what to tell y'all. But yeah, I can't.
Yeah, she's doing that. And that's right.
Yeah, because you can't mess them up. Okay.
Exactly, hold on, because get into him. Get into
She
him.
said we going to Mexico after this. So Cancun.
We down at Cabo San Lucas.
My hair's nice.
Damn, I am so hungry. Oh,
Same. How are we still
What do
here?
they eat?
damn.
I'm just kidding.
Are you
Sorry.
using that for?
Premiere. Yeah, I was. I took the part.
Steven, were you able to, if you were not, that's perfectly fine. Were you able to find those badges by chance? I know Tony took
Yep.
them. We
Yeah,
found 50.
I found 50. So what I'm doing is they're the ones that clip.
That's
So
perfect. That's perfect.
I'm guessing we're just gonna write shit on them.
Well, I
or
was gonna send you a document if you could print it out, and then we could
Okay.
just cut it. We could just cut it here, so we don't have to deal with all that.
okay, that's fine. Because they're the clip ones, I'm just gonna attach them to the red lanyards. We have so many freaking red MSU Denver lanyards. Are you okay with that?
I mean, we don't. If it's the clip, we don't have to attach it because then we look like college freshmen walking around with the red folder.
Not facts.
Okay, all right. So take the
Um,
red lanyards off. Okay.
Yeah, you can take the lanyards if they're the clip ones. That's perfectly fine. All right, so I'm gonna send you this document right now with the name tags. If
That's
you could
fine.
if you could just print it out on like the cardstock, that'd be nice.
Yeah, I could do that.
You still need me to do the check-in for some of the bikes?
Yes.
I don't-
'cause there's-
I don't know yet because they're all the check-in information should be going to me. So I think I'll be able to do it.
Well, it will
If
send
you-
you can. It's just that I mean it's Southwest. It really doesn't matter. People can say
It really
say
doesn't
things.
matter.
Yeah. So
Well,
I
it
guess yeah,
matters.
you can
It
check
matters.
in
Yeah.
for Sky. You have to send it to Sky.
I did send to Sky already. Irvi
Okay.
asked because Irvi needed to show her parents. So
Okay.
gave it to her already. But I was gonna just check everyone in tonight.
That's fine.
I will
Rapids rewards number on there.
just text me your rapid reward. And
Text me
And-
your points, Steve.
I need my points.
Playing no games. Like
well, I want to check us in early so we get good seats. So we
Jeffy,
get to,
go see it right now.
My number in there, then.
I
I'll
gotta check us in
check
at
mine.
8:05.
Oh yeah, it's not
You
24
can
hours.
check us in at
My
eight oh
bad.
five, it's the
And
24
you
hours.
and he has to check in like 5 different
Eight oh
people.
five PM.
But yeah, just communicate.
That's fine. Better get on that.
You do
Better
that.
start at 8:04.
You better hope I don't have too many cocktails tonight then.
No, you
Yeah.
better not have too many
Appetizers.
cocktails. Exactly. Appetizers. You're online.
You all want to come down here, please?
This is a live
Yeah.
recording, and you're talking about cocktails. Like,
Oh
It's
yeah.
still recording.
Oh.
Brandon.
Oh no.
We'll cut the tapes. It's
I'm gonna
fine.
be like, Brandon, you have to cut it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we need to.
stop
Take
recording.
the post.
We'll be fine.